Hello everyone, so today I'm here to do a wrap-up for the month of June, and it has been a very weird reading month for me because I have read a lot at the beginning of the month and then I hit a slump around the middle, and then we got COVID, so I didn't read at all for a couple of days because I was knocked out. But then we were feeling better, but we could still not go out for another week or so, so I read that a ton again, and I was feeling like I wanted to finish things, so I read a lot of small things. So I have a lot of things to talk about. So first I'm going to start by saying that I am part of this round of judging for the BookTube Prize for translated fiction. I have not finished my assignment yet, but I'm almost done with it, so that's great. I will talk about those books when the round is over. Other than that, I also wanted to read the 3 books that I had not previously read from the shortlist of the Women's Prize for Fiction, and that was Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason, The Bread the Devil Kned by Lisa Allen-Agostini, and The Sentence by Louise Erdrich. So I read those 3 books and I made a video talking about this shortlist and my thoughts on all of the books, but very briefly, I didn't like Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason. I get why people like it, it's well written, but the main character was so unrelatable, and so I just hated her. And also I didn't like the way that they treated mental illness, because this woman was horrible and it kind of hinted that that was because of her mental illness, but I don't think that in general mental illnesses make people worse people. So I thought that was not very well handled. Then The Bread the Devil Kned is about a middle-aged woman that is being abused by her husband, and we see a little bit of that relationship and how it came to be. I thought it was fine. Not much more to say about that. And then The Sentence, it's about a bookstore in Minneapolis in 2020, and there is this part of the story about this customer that dies and comes back to hunt the bookstore, and then there is the other part about COVID and, in a lesser extent, George Floyd, and I don't think that the 2 parts mashed together. I didn't think that the part of the ghost was necessary in the story. It didn't fit. I did like, especially the COVID part, I did like the writing, and I did like some elements of it. I thought it was really well done, but just like the whole thing together, it just didn't come together for me. So yeah, those were for the Women's Prize for Fiction. And then I finished 3 books for the Invisible Cities project. So one of them I had already started the previous month, and that was Tyrant Memory by Horacio Castellanos Moya, which was for El Salvador, and I enjoyed. I have a review for it, so I will link it down below. And then for Qatar, I read The Masters of the Pearl by Michael Quentin Morton, which I also have a review for. And I appreciated this book because I learned a lot about Qatar, but I'm not sure how it compares with other non-fiction books about Qatar. So, I'm not sure, 100% sure that this is like the best book ever. But I did learn things. And then the other book that I read for Republic of Congo was Black Moses by Alain Mabankou. I read this in French, so in French is Petit Piment. This one was an interesting experience. I read it with Lorraine, and I think we agreed on our feelings about it. Like, the writing, I think, was quite good. I'm willing to read something else from Mabankou in the future. But the way that he told the story, it was like very disconnected and in this weird vignettes. And there was a lot of political commentary and satire that was nice, but like it was all over the place. And yeah, as a story, it didn't work out. But I also have a more in-depth review of that coming up next week, I think. So if you're interested, you can look forward to that. And then I read other 4 books for my Reading Around the World project, and this was for Central America. So I was trying to finish the countries that I had never read from Central America. So I read La Loca de Guandoca by Anacristina Rossi from Costa Rica. I read My Name is Rigoberta Menchu by Rigoberta Menchu for Guatemala, Beka by Edgell for BLISS, and Reinterpreting the Banana Republic for Honduras. And there is a mixed level of enjoyment in this book. So I really enjoy La Loca de Guandoca and Beka. I again have a video about Central American books that I have read for the Read Around the World project, but those 2 were my favorite from the ones I read. The Rigoberta Menchu one, I learned a lot. I appreciated the book for what it was, but because it was not heavily edited, and Rigoberta Menchu doesn't speak very good, well, didn't speak very good Spanish at the time that this was written, the storytelling is missing completely. So this one was actually the one that was putting me in a slump. And then the Reinterpreting the Banana Republic is very academic, and it's actually about the banana plantations and the industry in Honduras, which, I thought it was going to be a little bit more political, but it wasn't. So, that one was not very successful for me. But I read all of those books, and I have read now something from every country in Central America. And I also, from that video, I got a couple of very good recommendations to read more from the countries that I was not very satisfied with. So that's always great about this. And then this is the part where I started to read just really short books because I just wanted to feel accomplished, I guess. So I read Small Things Like This by Claire Keegan, which is about a family in Ireland. And there is a story about these houses in Ireland where unmarried mothers went to, and like all the bad things that happened there. It is touching, but it's a little bit too short to give any lasting impression on me. So yeah, that's a bit unfortunate, I guess. And then I also read Assembly by Natasha Brown, and I have heard a lot from this book in BookTube and a lot of praise. And sometimes, I don't know if it happens to anybody else, but sometimes that can put me off a book more than making me want to read it. But it was nominated for the Orwell Prize, so I thought I would pick it up. It's really short, and you can read it in a couple of hours. So I thought, okay, let's just read it, and actually I enjoyed that one. I have heard it described as this woman goes with her boyfriend to a family dinner, and they are all horrible to her. And it's about that dynamics because she's black and he's white, but I don't think it's about that at all. I mean, that happens, but it's a very small part of the book. I think for me it was about this middle class black woman that is accomplished in her work and had a reasonably easy life, and her reflections on how she's discriminated because of her race, because of her gender, because of the expectations of class that people put on her, even though she is middle class and she was always better off than her white boyfriend. And also there is an aspect of cancer in this book that I didn't know about, and it's just written in these very short vignettes of her reflecting on all of these different aspects of her life, and some of them are related to her boyfriend and her boyfriend's family, and some of them are related to her colleagues and her work, and some of them are just related to things that happened to her in the street. So it is like a collection of things that gives you an idea of how the life of someone like that, like black middle class woman, would be in the UK. And I thought there was nothing completely groundbreaking about it, but I thought it was really well done for what it was doing, and I think that it does give some insight into the everyday of a black woman and what people expect from her and what she actually is. And then I also read The Colony by Audrey Magee, because it's also in the Orwell's shortlist, and it's one that a lot of people have put as a possibility for the Booker Prize, which is coming at the end of July. So I thought it sounded interesting, and I wanted to read it regardless. And if I have read some of the books for the Booker, it's always a good thing. So I picked it up, and this one is about the Irish conflict. So it's set up in a remote island in Ireland, where most people speak Irish among themselves, and there is two kind of characters in the book. One of them is an English painter that wants to go there just to like search for peace, and then there is a Frenchman that is a linguist, and he is very angry that this Englishman suddenly appeared in the island, because he says that he was trying to learn and to study the evolution of the Irish language, and when this Englishman comes, he comes with all his arrogance and all of his expectations that everyone is going to speak English to him, and that does move the imbalance of languages in the island. And interspersed with this story about these two people in this Irish island, and also the boy that takes care of the house where they're staying. He's also a main character of the book. So all the story of these three people is interspersed with like terrorist attacks that happen because of the Troubles. So some of them were from the IRA and some of them were from the Ulster, like from both sides of the conflict. But yeah, it's interspersed with little snippets of that, like to give context to the whole story, I guess. And there is, I thought it was very interesting for me, at least. I am not sure it's for everybody. There is also some parts where we just basically get lectures about the Irish language and linguistics in general. I don't know if the author is a linguist or it's just an interest of her and she wanted to put her research on the book, even if sometimes it was a bit info dumpy. I didn't mind the info dump. I think I found it interesting, but I could see how other people will just find it a little bit too much info dump. But yeah, overall, I think the story of these three people were kind of the weakest part, but I really like to see the interactions between these people and all the complexities that are embedded, especially into a language like Irish. I know that similar debates have gone on in Spain about Catalan and Basque and all of these things, like what a language does to a national feeling and what it does for an identity, a national identity. I really enjoy all those discussions. I think those were really well done, and yeah, it's something that again I have not seen very often. But yeah, as I said, like the story of this painter and the boy and the Frenchman in a lesser extent, I'm not sure I was overly invested on that, but I didn't mind. I don't mind books without too much story or plot. But there was a feeling and there was a discussion that I was interested on, so I enjoyed this book. I'm not sure how interesting is in the general sense, but for me personally I found it really interesting. And then the last two books that I finished, the first one is The Agonist by Shastra Deo, and this is part of me trying to catch up with my Reading Around the World challenge, because this is a poetry collection from Fiji. I found it quite generic, to be honest, but yeah, it was not bad. It was just a little bit generic. There was some parts of it talking about, again, linguistics that I think were my favorite poems from the whole collection, but there were also just some poems about love and stuff that I just felt like they were very average, and to be honest, but I'm not a poetry expert, so I might be not very correct about this. And then the last one that I finished was An Evening in Guanima by Patricia Glinton-Meicholas, or something like that. This book I read, again, from the Reading Around the World challenge for the month of July, because in the month of July I want to talk to you about the northern islands of the Caribbean, and this book was from the Bahamas, and it was kind of a collection of folk stories about the Bahamas, which gave me a bit of a sense of folklore in the Bahamas. But it was, again, I'm not a huge short story collection person or like folk tales person, so for me some of them felt a little bit flat. But I'm glad I read it. I think I learned something about the folklore of the Bahamas anyway, so I'm happy about that. So yeah, those are all the books that I have read this month. Let me know what you have read this month, if you have enjoyed something that you think I will also enjoy. And let me know if you have read any of these books. And until next video, bye!